Hi and welcome back to the channel. Today we're continuing to look at building this small run batch kit for the Peckett GAMECOCK locomotive. This is the drawing on the front of the box, just because obviously I'm not far enough for you to actually see what it looks like from what I'm building, but I've done quite a bit since we last spoke, since I last showed you. So last time I basically put together the brackets for the lay shaft and pulley. And that was kind of all I'd done. Now we actually have a rolling chassis. Actually, it no longer rolls because because once you've put the lay shaft on, the wheels don't rotate from the wheels. You can't rotate the wheels because it doesn't transfer the motion through the worms properly. What you have to do is rotate the pulley, which turns the worms, which turns the wheels. So everything moves nice and smoothly. It's a bit tricky to see under the light. If we can do this, if I rotate the pulley, you can see that the gears and the wheels are moving nicely. They move very little each time you turn the pulley around, and of course the motor will drive the pulley through quite a lot of revolutions for a small amount of movement, which is good. But yes, so you can see that yeah, I've done quite a lot of work. It's like 3 or 4 instructions, I think, in the kit. So what did I do? So this has involved both the conventional soldering iron and the resistance soldering unit that we looked at. So first of all, the main part of the chassis is the side, the end, the other side, and this piece. It kind of forms one long piece with a bit in the middle that's taller, and essentially you fold it up and fold the top down to make the 2 sides back and this bit of the chassis. Before you do that, you have to solder on these detailed overlays. You can kind of see, if you look at this bit here, you can see it's made of two layers soldered together, and solder in the brass top hat bearings. They come in from the bottom. So I did all that with the combination of the standard iron and the resistance soldering unit. So I tinned the inner layer with the bearings in place, which meant that I got the solder to run kind of all over these faces, and sealed the bearings into the inner layer. And then I laid the laminates on top, and then used the resistance soldering unit to laminate them in place. And I started from from one of the bearings. So I literally had the resistance soldering unit, the probe inside the bearing, and then applied the power, which meant that the heat spread out nicely from the bearing, laminating the surrounding area, but it also meant that the bearing was then nicely attached to the laminate as well. So I did both bearings on one side and then worked my way around, kind of out from the edges, to attach the laminate on one side, and then did the same on the other. And that worked really, really nicely. I mean, I've made a bit of a mess in places of solder since then, but there was absolutely no solder cleanup. There was a few marks where the metal had discoloured slightly from the heat, but they disappeared with a fiberglass brush. But by and away the cleanest laminating of 2 parts I have ever managed in my life. It just worked, and that was brilliant. The rest of the soldering was then done with a standard iron, partly as, of course, within a few steps you end up with the wheels in place and plastic gears and things, and I'm not quite sure how the current flows and what bits get hot, and how localized the heat is, but I definitely didn't want to risk melting the wheel centers or the gears. So the rest has been done with a conventional soldering iron and being quick and careful, which is why in a couple of places I managed to get more solder than I'd intended. But yeah, so basically you fold it up, so you end up with a 2-pronged piece. Wheels get slotted in, and then you have to put in this lay shaft piece that has the ball bearing in. The motor mount, when the other end of the pulley goes in this, with the pulley on it, goes in this end. As I say, that gets attached. You can see it's kind of tab and slot around the edge, so everything aligns nicely. And there is this piece across the middle at the bottom that has 2 screws in it. That's to do with the pickups later. And yeah, then there was a bit of jiggling about, making sure I got everything perfectly square and aligned, and then just made sure that these joints were all nicely put together. But as I say, it sits nice and square. There's no rocking corner to corner. And as I say, if I turn the pulley, everything rotates nice and freely. There's no binding. Wheels turn. So hopefully that's done now. There'll be obviously lots more work to assemble things like the cranks and things that go on the outside. I'm hoping there isn't very much axle left. They are the right length, so I'm hoping that the cranks fit. If I have to take this apart and do new axles, it's going to be a nightmare. I'm going to have to literally assemble the wheel sets as I push the axle through, and from previous experience of doing that on my Hudson Hunslet kit, it's a nightmare. So yeah, I'm hoping that these are long enough. In retrospect, what I should have done, maybe I don't know whether the kit should have suggested, is that maybe the axles should have been longer, fit the cranks, and then file any excess axle down. I mean, if you remember from a previous video, I'll stick a link here if I remember, I remade the axles myself because I didn't think the ones in the kit were long enough. They seemed not to match the etched guide on the sheet. So I'm hoping these are okay. I mean, they have to get a couple of laminations of material on each side. So I'm hoping that there's enough gap. But we shall see. But for now, really happy with that. The instructions were easy to follow, even though I did screw them up on at least one occasion, because I managed to not put this piece, this cross member in before I tacked the front together, which meant I couldn't. It was tricky to get in, but a little wiggling around and it popped into the gap, so that was okay. But yeah, instructions were great, easy to follow, details good, and as I say, the resistance soldering unit for doing the laminations was brilliant. I mean, I know it's an expensive tool and it's not the kind of thing everybody has, but now I've got it and I know how to use it. I think I'll be using it for quite a few more parts like that. I didn't actually bother with the steel plates and or foil this time. I literally just used some masking tape to tape the black return wire to this piece of the etch while I laminated on the sides. And that meant I didn't have any issues with the heat soaking out of the part into the foil or the metal plate. It just all attached really nicely, soldered on. It was all really good. So yeah, really happy with that. Yeah, we'll move on and see what the next instruction is. And as I say, if you want to kind of continue following the build, then remember the subscribe link should be down here. But for now, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.